Oftentimes, graphs will not be ready to go right out of the chute. You'll need to tweak and edit that graph so that it looks the way that you want it to. Let's explore some ways that you can edit graphs in Illustrator. So I'm beginning this video with the graph_edit file already open on my computer. And let's take a look at some of the obvious things that you can change. So I'm going to go ahead and select this graph to make it active. And to change the data, we just go to the Object menu, Graph, and choose Data. And that's going to go ahead and open up your data window where you can make any edits to these values that you wish. So if we realized, oh, this was really comparing, say, 2011 instead of 2013, we can just change that value, click the Apply button, and that's going to update the information. Same thing with our values. If I change this to a different number and click Apply, the graph is going to update accordingly. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this because we can also adjust the graph type very easily. So if we go to the Object menu and go to Graph and choose Type, that's going to give us the ability to change the type of graph applied. Instead, I wanted to say a column graph. I can go ahead and click OK, and that's now going to compare the data in a different way. Now, we can also edit the content as well. So, for example, in some of these cases, we may want to make the text a little bit bigger or smaller, depending on how it looks. And we can see that we have a little bit of an overlap here. So, the tool that is very helpful when working with graphs is the Group Selection tool. And you may ask, why is that? Well, you'll notice that with this Group Selection tool, if I come down here and I click on Alaska, it's going to select that component. But if I click it again, it's going to select all of those text values. So I may want to come up here to my character panel and just reduce the point size maybe a little bit. Maybe we'll go down to, say, 15 points. And we can see that that still is not totally fixing my problem here. So I'm going to switch over to my Type tool, and I certainly can, in fact, click inside of this text area. If I want to, I can go ahead and put, say, like a soft return in there. That way the text looks a little bit better and not so cluttered down here. Now, this Group Selection tool is also helpful. In the case of the vertical axis here, we can click on the value and then click again. And as you can see, they're all highlighted. So maybe we want to increase that size a little bit, maybe go up to about 10 points. And then we can, of course, click on those if we want to and drag them over so that they're not right on the line. So all these values can be adjusted. Now, this is especially useful when it comes to color, because as you'll see, if I click on one of these bars, it's going to select that specific bar. But if I click again, it's going to select all of the bars in that range. And then if I click again, it's also going to select the legend. So if I wanted to change that color, I could just come up here to the Swatches panel. Maybe we will apply, let's say, a green color to that value. And maybe we want it to be a tint, so we can come up here to the Color panel. And I can even just hold down the Shift key and drag to kind of lighten that and just adjust it by hue. Let's go ahead and do the same thing to the black. I'm going to click 3 times, and now we can come in here and maybe apply a different color. So I'm going to use, let's go with like this orange color. There we go. And same principle, we can just shift drag to kind of lighten that value. And now we have the 2 different colors applied. Now, in the same breath, we can also recolor this in a more automated fashion. So I'm going to go ahead and select the graph using my selection tool. And what I can also do here is I can recolor the artwork. So if I come up here to the color guide, I can click on the Edit or Apply Colors button, and that's going to open up my Recolor Artwork panel. And in here, I can choose maybe to map to the brights colors, or I can map to grays if I want to. And if I want to, I can go into the Edit panel, and I can just start adjusting these to look however I want them to. I can even unlink these colors to really change what these colors are being mapped to. So you have a lot of flexibility here as far as how these colors are going to appear in your own artwork as well. So I'll go ahead and click OK. And it asked me if I want to save the settings for the brights group. I'm not going to save that because I want to leave those alone. And I can see how easy it is to recolor the artwork as well. And even after you've recolored the artwork, if you select this information and we go to the object menu, graph, and choose type, we can change it to another type of graph, and the colors are still going to apply in the same fashion. So it's very flexible. You have a lot of flexibility as far as adjusting these and editing the content that you find inside of these graphs. As you can see, knowing how to edit graphs in Illustrator is really key to getting them to look exactly the way that you want them to.